the Future Talk. So now the Future Talk, as you might have guessed from the title, is all about global challenges, new opportunities when it comes to brands. And I'd like to re-invite onto the stage Gerhard Hrebicek, who will join me right next to me, in fact. As you know, he is president of the European Brand Institute and the founder of this summit. We also have joining us remotely Bobby Calder from Kellogg Graduate School of Management, where he serves as Kellstadt Professor of Marketing. Joining us here in person in Vienna, we have Patricia Neumann, Country General Manager for IBM Austria, who can feel free to join us on the other side of the stage. Monika Racek is CEO of ADMIRAL AG, who can also join us on the other side of the stage. Andrea Gaal is member of the Supervisory Board of Raiffeisen. And we also have Hannes Kirchbaumer, digital marketing expert, also joining us on the opposite side of the stage. So, Gerhard, take it away. The stage is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. We have to make up a little bit so that we stay in time. Yeah, Future Talk. We want to discuss what's coming up, what will happen in the future with brands. And I'm glad that we have Bobby Calder online, and he will give us a keynote speech. Bobby, you are there?
Yes, Gerhard.
Wonderful. We don't see you. Is your camera on? Oh, now. Fantastic. Greetings to Chicago from Vienna.
Greetings to everyone there.
Okay, Bobby, you can start.
Okay, I'm trying to share my screen. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes, we see it, Bobby.
Okay, great.
But maybe
great.
you don't, because we see also the second slide, maybe you change the mode. It's the presentation mode when you go to the...
Okay. The joys of technology.
Yeah, and now the...
Well, why don't we proceed? You can see the main slide.
Yeah, sure, Bobby. Let's go ahead.
Right.
So we see what's coming next already. It's good. It's a future talk, so we should look into the future of the slides also.
The future, exactly. So what I would like to talk about is the future of brands. And what I'll say is based on the fact that not all brands will be able to brand themselves in terms of sustainability. Rich as that is for branding purposes, brands have to be many more things to many more different kinds of people. And so marketers, especially big companies, and I think in the future, many more companies have struggled with the idea of adding sustainability to brands where sustainability is not the core of the brand, but it's added to the brand. And to do that, we've come to the notion of brand purpose. And what I would like to argue today is that brand purpose is really part of the future of brands, where purpose is added to all brands, not just purely sustainability-based brands. So let me show you what I mean and how I get to that position. We have to always recognize to start with that brands create value for consumers. That basically is what brands do. They go beyond the objective value of the product and really add additional value in the mind of the consumer, which is real, and that the consumer values the product even more than they would otherwise without the brand. So traditionally, brands do this by persuading consumers to recognize the value of the product, the design of the product, the name, the logo, the visual identity, all the things we're familiar with, as well as the advertising messages, focuses the consumer's attention on the most valuable benefit of the product. An easy example that everyone knows is Coca-Cola. For instance, it's a refreshing beverage that has made people all over the world happy for generations. And everything Coca-Cola does is predicated on that branding, getting people to recognize the refreshing quality of the product and the fact that that's reinforced by its being well known for generations. Branding causes persuaded consumers to recognize the value of Coca-Cola compared to a competitive product. Now, today, competition is everywhere, right? Competition in the market puts increasing pressure on brands to become even stronger by creating more value for consumers. We have ad blockers, we have consumers that resist advertising. It's harder and harder to create strong brands. Stronger brands must create value above and beyond the value of the product itself, and that happens when the consumer's experience for the brand adds value to the product. Let me show you what I mean by that with a simple example. You're all familiar with Nike, and Nike is a good example of an experienced brand, the even stronger type of brand I'm talking about. There's a very interesting study that was done a couple of years ago where people were asked to go to a putting green and simply make a putt, make a shot. And you counted the number of strokes to make the shot. Some people were given a non-branded putter. I think they called it starter or something like that. Nobody ever heard of because it doesn't exist. Other people were given a Nike putter. In all cases, the putter, of course, was the same. But in terms of the shots to make the putt, markedly fewer shots for the Nike product. That Nike brand actually affected people's performance, their experience of making the putt. That's what a really strong brand can do, and that's really the goal of really marketing in the future, to create experienced brands of that kind. Now, let me get to brand purpose. Having a brand purpose is an important emerging way of creating an experienced brand. Purpose is just another name for investment in societal goals such as poverty, hunger, health, gender equality, the list goes on. Brand purpose means linking the brand to a purpose in a way that strengthens the brand. Emphasis on strengthens the brand. Not just to have a purpose, but to actually have it strengthen the brand. Brand purpose also solves a major economic problem. The shareholder-stakeholder dilemma, as we call it in the States. Even if you believe that management should invest in societal stakeholder goals, that is, people that don't directly consume the product but still are affected by, in society, different societal problems, where does this investment come from? Ultimately, it must come from shareholders, investors, owners, debt holders that are likely to resist any decrease in their own returns. Now, I realize that in other countries, you don't have this dilemma as quite as sharp as it is in the United States, where people, descendants of Hayek and Milton Friedman argue very strongly that stakeholders are everything, that shareholders are everything. But still it exists. It's an economic problem. How do you get shareholders to be okay with investing in brand purpose when it's at the expense of their own returns? Brand purpose is a solution to the shareholder-stakeholder dilemma in that it calls for shared value, investments that simultaneously benefit stakeholders while increasing value in terms of revenue, thereby benefiting shareholders as well. This idea is gaining increasing currency ever since an article by Porter and Kramer called Creating Shared Value popularized this notion that you can do both. You can actually benefit shareholders and at the same time stakeholders. The question is how? How do you do that? So brand purpose means linking the brand to a purpose in a way that strengthens the brand and makes it possible for both stakeholders and shareholders to benefit from the same investment. It's not the same thing as corporate social responsibility, though, where you're doing something out of an act of responsibility where the company is directly and separately from the brand trying to aid in the achievement of some societal goal. Here we're trying to actually increase the value to shareholders in investing in the societal goal. And it's turning out to be a little more complicated than it sounds. The case in point is that it's widely talked about in the States is the Pepsi Refresh project. Pepsi, very early on, the head of P&G's marketing proposed this idea of brand purpose in something like 1912, and it really caught on. And Pepsi was one of the first to embrace it. What they did was to start a process where they would donate to different charities where people could vote on the charity, particularly Pepsi users, but anybody could vote. Your vote counted more if you had bought a Pepsi. But what they found was that it didn't really increase the brand's value. Very worthwhile things were done, but there was no connection between the brand. Pepsi, after all, is about popular culture and currency, Michael Jackson and that kind of thing. Did not connect with the more corporate social responsibility kind of effort. So ever since, we've been trying to realize that we really have to connect the brand to the purpose. So again, brand purpose means linking the brand to a purpose in a way that strengthens the brand. This requires that the brand purpose become part of the experience of the brand. Here's an example to illustrate the point. I find it a very, very good example. Ayuden is a Clorox cleaning product in Argentina. It's a pretty strong brand, but just a normal cleaning product brand. It adopted gender equality as brand purpose, however. Specific brand purpose was the goal of husbands helping more with household tasks. And the idea was to connect this purpose to the brand of cleaning better. Ayuden made husbands helping more with household tasks part of the experience of the brand. One branding activity, for example, was to fund a statue of a woman in the center of Buenos Aires to celebrate the work of women at home. You can see the statue of the women here in the art installation. Now notice this is an experience. This is a live experience of the brand connected to brand purpose. The statue, interestingly enough, also included a man, but the male statue was only half complete. You see that it makes the point that women are doing more than their fair share of housework, and with the purpose directed at gender equality, that's incorporated into the actual brand of cleaning better. Now, this was amplified, as you would always today with social media, amplified the live experience. Other content took the form of instructional articles on how to share the load, which actually was directed at men in terms of explaining to them that they could participate in household activities such as laundry. This type of gender equality purpose has been incorporated in a number of brands at this point. P&G in India did this with their cleaning product. They actually went so far as to print special tags for clothing that was put on clothing for sale that says washable by men and women. So you get the idea. Incorporating the purpose into the brand and the brand's activities. Now, one last point. For sustainability, branding activities such as this should not be treated as expenses. And in most cases, they are from an accounting point of view. But to really register the impact of purpose on increasing brand value, they should be treated as an investment in increasing the financial value of the brand as an intangible asset. And for this purpose, a number of us, including Gerhard, have been involved with ISO and trying to create standards for actually measuring brand value as an asset that then could be used to evaluate efforts like this, such as increasing brand value through brand purpose, and even eventually certifying brands for having done this is for the certified brand that the European Brand Institute is conducting. So brand purpose can contribute to the sustainability goal, but at the same time, increase brand value as a financial asset for investors. And if you can communicate that to investors, that gives them a basis for supporting the sustainability effort. So the vision for the future of brands is to use brand purpose to create additional consumer value that creates value for investors, shareholders, and societal stakeholders. A sustainable brand solution to sustainability, if you will. And what I visualize is a process that goes from investors investing all through the company in terms of finance, marketing, branding, and consumer, and affecting stakeholders in a way that increases the value of the experience to consumers, that feeds back through the brand to marketing, reporting to finance, and eventually to integrated reporting to investors that can sustain investment in the brand and in the stakeholder. So thank you very much.
Yes, Bobby, thank you very much. There was a lot inside. Purpose, corporate social responsibility, preaching, gender equality, investor society. Maybe we start with Monika Racek. She's the CEO of ADMIRAL, and you do a lot of, you were also a sustainability CEO kind of executive for the group. What is your view on this purpose and CSR activities?
Yeah, thank you, Gerhard. We at Novomatic, we really think that corporate responsibility, having a sustainable brand, is a really key value driver for our group. Having a sustainable brand means having a trustful brand, and this is very important in our industry because this also means securing our own market position. We are depending on licensing. We are operating in 5 provinces in Austria, slots, and you only are allowed to do this if you obtain a license. And a very important part of this licensing process is having a very comprehensive and very good player protection program. So this is the heart of our CR activities at the group, to do the utmost possible to protect our customers. So really have to do a good job concerning responsible gambling. So this is a very important point for us, so it secures us licenses. Another important point is, very important in our branch, is to be attractive as an employer. We live in a world of where we are in a kind of war of talents, and we need good people, we need good employees, qualified employees, and it's very important to have a strong and sustainable brand for us. And it's also a very big issue to be attractive as an investment opportunity. At Novomatic, we realize more and more that many rating agencies like Moody's or Standard & Poor's, they include the fulfillment of ESG criteria, so environmental, social and governance, into their credit rankings. And if you don't fulfill the criteria, you have disadvantages concerning getting loans, for example. So the whole topic, CSR, sustainability, if you look at the development at Novomatic Group, and I'm in this group since 13 years almost, in former days it was a kind of nice to have. A reputable company does something concerning CSR or sustainability, but nowadays times completely change, and it's not a nice to have, but it's a must have. And if you want to compete at the market, you are obliged, so to say, to have a strong and a sustainable brand. So this is
wonderful. Thank you. Now it was a perfect introduction to the financial topic, and I want to welcome Andrea Gaal. She's online here in the screen. Andrea, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, what a background. Fantastic. The globe. So could you give us your view? You are I'm the board member of Raiffeisen International, and you are also professor at Webster University for finance. Could you give us your view now, what will happen in the future on the financial market, for the financial institutions.
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you very much for the invitation to participate in this year's Future Talk. And hello to anyone still accessing the Brand Global Summit, digitally or in person. It's exciting to talk about global brands and sustainability from a financial services point of view, and most important, discuss future perspectives and ask the Quo Vadis question, where do we go from here? During my career, I had the opportunity to work for global brands like Sony and Sony Ericsson in the tech sector. And it's very interesting for me to observe that all the key issues we were driving at the time, like putting the customer into the center of everything we do, building agile organizations, embracing the transformative digital change, essential in order not to end up becoming dumb bit pipes. So this was a decade ago, and now all of these topics are key issues and have still strategic relevance in the 5-year plans of financial services businesses. So many people argue banks and financial institutions are the new IT companies, the new IT brands. Some high-tech firms from Silicon Valley and China have had aspirations to offer financial services and acquired banking licenses. So banks and financial services companies are significant catalysts in promoting economic development and sustainability. And right now they have a unique opportunity to go beyond traditional measures such as enterprise risk management and to truly embrace the transformative digital change. So we could say there's a revolution going on, and it's no coincidence that one of the neobanks chose this mantra as their global brand, Revolut. So this massive change, this massive revolution is happening by focusing on more sustainable practices in multiple ways. ESG, environmental, social governance focus as a mega trend is happening right now and will only grow in future. So banking is seeing sustainability as a priority to promote more energy efficient practices, acknowledge the social impact of the industry, and also raise ethical questions when it comes to applying new technologies like artificial intelligence. Yet the bank's role is not merely the promotion of sustainability practices, but also to create new products, new services, capitalizing on ESG issues. And these new products and services became lucrative and global. Consider green credit cards, for instance, encouraging customers to buy environmentally friendly products, or energy efficient mortgages, climate bonds, just to name a few. During Climate Week, principles for responsible banking were championed with over 80 banks worldwide endorsing them. And with that, they demonstrated a clear commitment from the banking industry to assume their defining role in creating a sustainable future. Hence, banks are prioritizing ESG, and it's good for business too. Like with any major change, there are still challenges ahead to fully achieve sustainable practices, and all of our efforts are required to drive this change. I'm, for instance, referring to the fact how unsatisfactory company accounting standards are in representing intangible investments. Brands as such, including sustainable brands, are not visible in the balance sheets, even though we all agree they constitute an enormous value, which could be used as collateral. So for the most part, company accounts ignore intangibles, that is brands, but they ought to be taken into account in the respective P&Ls. Furthermore, sustainability is not a top priority in all of the emerging markets yet, because some economies still rely on less climate-friendly industries, supply chains need to be shifted, and more environmentally conscious decisions made. So political support is often lacking. Talking about political support in the face of COVID-19, governments have an increasingly important role to play. Banks need to be supported so intangible asset lending becomes a reality, and regulatory barriers need to be evaluated and decreased to create a level playing field. An accounting and regulatory framework needs to be developed swiftly, enabling intangible asset financing. And furthermore, no common metrics exist for measuring sustainability in financial services. So there is a lack of consensus on the standard metrics that ought to be applied to actually measure sustainability practices in financial services in the global arena. But in every challenge lies an opportunity, especially taking into account the new possibilities and the scalability of technologies like AI. Thus, we urgently require systems, we urgently require tools, we require platforms allowing us to determine a baseline for success. These platforms need to be trustworthy. They need to be easy to use with an appealing user interface, an appealing UX, providing a rich experience of usage. And they need to be comprehensive with the ambition of a global reach. With the implementation of such new platforms, relevant brand data by sector, by industry could be accessed so that players in the field of sustainable banking and ESG could be clearly identified and, most important, brought together. And by doing this, form the basis for new business in the respective sector. This innovative approach is going to create new jobs, also in the SME sector, which took a dramatic hit during Corona, provide new sustainable investment opportunities, and most important, drive economic growth and prosperity, which the whole world is so urgently in need of right now. Thanks very much for your attention.
It's Andrea, wonderful. Now we come back from orbit to the UN headquarters again. And as we heard so much about technology and it's about digitization, maybe Hannes Kirchbaumer, you can give us a very quick view because we are a little late already into the future and what will be happening in the IT sector. We heard AI, so please, you're also Google certified, so give us your insights. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the invitation. I mean, I'm working in digital marketing and helping brands to perform online and get their brand and message out, and also to monitor what's going on and what's also been talked about the different brands. And what we see is that branding has never been more important than now, because it's the brand and the client are much closer than ever before, and it's definitely something that the case that transparency and sustainability becoming more and more important, and we see it also in efficiency and performance of online campaigns, and so it's the factor is rising, and we also see that brands are more and more aware of how important not only the digital marketing but also the discussion on online media is, and especially with COVID this year, most of the attention is digital now, and so we are now developing a lot of solutions to help monitor what's going on, see what brand effects different campaigns can make, but also to manage the community and see what's helping the brand to develop in the right direction, and also what you can do if anything not so positive happens, and find the right solutions there. So it's databases, different monitoring systems are rising, and the awareness also with the big brands is bigger than ever before. And and for me, always the best example is if you have more or less a similar same product, and you have two brands, you will definitely see which see the effect of the better, more sustainable and better recognized brand. And yeah, so that's something that's getting more and more important. And also the solutions around that, different brand lift studies where you see, okay, how did a certain campaign, a certain communication affect the brand, yeah, is something that's getting more and more important and bigger.
Okay, Hannes, thank you very much. So it's all about data, combining data, as already Andrea said, doing information out of data, artificial intelligence. And I think here comes IBM in. IBM itself, a very, very long-time brand, 109 years old. And Patricia, Neumann, you want to tell us a little bit about the ethics in this new system, ethics, responsibility, where you see the challenges in the future.
So hello everyone, thanks for the invitation. Yes, 109 years, that's the company's age I'm working for. And everyone who knows IBM, we have changed our portfolio, so to say, several times. So from things like scales up to now artificial intelligence and quantum computer. But things that are combined with the IBM brand, the values remained very stable over the years. And one of the values is, for example, innovation that matters. So really our commitment to continuous research and development and innovation every year for the good purpose, so to say, is that what drove IBM's business model over the years, and that's what the brand stands for. So we have the privilege to serve clients across the world in all the industries. It's the banking industry, the retailers, everyone. And the thing is that what we try with technology is to help clients on their way, and there I think where you can combine business and sustainability to become faster, to become more service-oriented, more client-focused, and to do things that really help to solve the big problems of the world. And few of them have been mentioned today already. And I think one of the resources that is so valuable on the one side is data, we know this, but on the other side it's speed. And that's again where technology comes in. So when we talk today, for example, about quantum computer, then it is because you will need the quantum computer in the future on top of today's computer power to solve problems around research. Where's the next best medicine? Yeah? How can I do material research for the best battery we need in our cars? So technology, I think, is so fundamental here if used for the purpose and the right purpose and the good things in the world. And then it happens that technology is used, as always in the past, and it can happen for bad things. And I think that's where also come the ethical discussion in. So in IBM, we are very proud that we've worked together with the European Union in 2019 for the guidance on the ethical principles. So that's one thing. The other thing is, yes, we try to serve for the good purpose, but the important thing is that as a technology company, we also provide tools that can help to find out where in the artificial intelligence is a bias, where is a pattern that does not fit to the human rights we all want to follow, or be a role model in the world. So an example from IBM, we have withdrawn from the market a software for facial recognition, because it was used for a purpose which was not for the right purpose we believe in. So we said we step away from this business. We don't want to be seen providing facial recognition software. So on the ethics side, it's also the second year in a row now that we have been named one of the most ethical companies in the world. And I think that is very important, not only for the clients, but at the end also for the brand, as we talked today, but also for your own employees. So I think the IBMer in itself working in an environment is also a huge impact on employee engagement. So that's why I believe where technology, business, sustainability and ethics, they all come together, and the huge challenge for the future will be the speed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A very, very interesting look to the future. Now, as we are a little late, I just want to round up with one question. And maybe you can answer, all of you, with one sentence. What do you think will be happening in 10 years, or should happen in 10 years, with brands in relation to sustainability? Maybe we start with Monika, then comes Bobby, then Hannes, and in the end, then last but not least, Patricia. Okay? Monika.
Thank you, Gerhard. Well, I think we already live in an era of digitalization and transparency, and customers get more and more skeptical and critical. And so I think companies who pay as much attention to their kind of extra financial performance, so much as to their financial performance, will be the brands of the future, or the brands of the future. So it's very, very important to pay attention to these so-called intangible assets. Yeah, so to fulfill the ESG criteria, all these things we talked already about today. So this was my point to this.
Thank you. Bobby? You still there?
I think the main, yes. I think the main difference will be that, to echo what was just said, that brands will pay much more attention to other stakeholders and societal impact and use that for branding purposes rather than this strict focus on return to investors. The idea will be shared value, how to create value by doing both.
Okay, very good. Hannes?
Yeah, I think it will be interesting to see how, I would say the whole society will develop, because I think brands and big influencers, communicators are becoming very, very important, and I think that we will see more really global brands, but with a regional sustainability focus as well. So I think it's the whole digitization of communication will make everything faster, but I think it will be more important than ever to share the right values, and people will choose their brand and will develop their life around that, actually.
So you're coming back to Mrs. Schrambeck's statement, every big brand was a small brand, so you're saying every small brand can be a global brand with using digital means.
Definitely.
So Patricia, Neumann, what is your view? What will happen in 10 years, or what should have happened?
So I'm not sure if I can ask or know what's happening in 10 years. So IBM is famous for predicting 10 years, but recently we predict 5 years. And this year we have issued recently our 5-year prediction. And yes, we very much appreciate again what came from the UN in terms of sustainable development goals. Yeah. What I can see, I believe on the technology side, quantum computer will be commercialized within 5 years. I strongly believe natural language within the artificial intelligence will be much broader the footprint than it is today. And last but not least, technology is and will be the key differentiator and success factor for all of the industry to reach our sustainability goals.
What a nice final statement. Thank you very much. Thanks to the panel. Thanks, Bobby and Andrea, for being online. And yes, I hand over to Sarah Kelly.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your panel. Gerhard, I'll just invite you actually to join us now on the opposite side of the stage. And thank you so much to our participants. You can find your seats now in the audience.